This book writing thing took me to the White House. In 2022, International Women's Day edition of 2022, I got an invitation from a least expected person. I have a YouTube channel, and that is part of my personal development journey. So it was just a way of me teaching and training. And from doing that, one of the people I share my training or my YouTube videos to, so got it. And then it was in an alumni, my university alumni. In fact, I just finished the meeting, and now I just immediately, it was up to 5 minutes to 1. I quickly logged out to come and start my own meeting because I was the president of that alumni. I finished from University of Olabiso Onabanjo, former Ogun State University. So the woman used to see my posts on my YouTube. Now she got an invitation to attend the International Women's Day celebration. There were 20 outstanding women that were going to be decorated with special awards. She could not attend. She lives in Illinois. She now was looking for who to transfer the invitation to. And because they were talking about women, the only person that came to her mind because of my video and all those things she's been watching about me, she remembered me. So this is me, more or less an introduction. I see myself beyond being an entrepreneur or an author, so to say, as somebody that have gotten a desire, innate desire, to help people unravel their inner power, inner purpose, and to help them see how they can transition and also pivot into doing whatever they desire to do. So a lot of time, too, this is my vision, awaken the superpower in you and I, so that you also can build a life of legacy and a life of significance. And this time around, one of the instruments that I am proposing that have been helpful, that have been useful to me, is through the book publishing. A lot of entrepreneurs out there, a lot of people, professionals, they have not been able to come to a point or a place where they can appreciate that when you actually package your wisdom and expertise into a published book, you are only not just thinking of who is going to read it, but you are positioning yourself. Writing a book is one of the positioning tools that you can ever come by. Can you imagine listening to somebody who says is this, is that? He does this and he does that. And while he was talking, he just, from his shelf, just bring out a book and say, I wrote a book about this. Just tell me, how will the conversation look like? It's the positioning tools. It's helping you to shape your perspective in the mind of the project. You are projecting yourself in a way that you want those people you are engaging with to see and feel you, that you are what? This is good. You are an authority. So that is why when you talk about author, there's no how you can spell author without the word authority. So if you want people to perceive you as an authority in your field, in your sphere, in your area of civilization, in your area of expertise, you cannot cross your D, your T, or dot your I perfectly without writing a book about that subject. That's one of the things that changed the game. I tell you, this book writing thing took me to the White House. In 2022, International Women's Day edition of 2022, I got an invitation from a least expected person. I have a YouTube channel, and that is part of my personal development journey. So it was just a way of me teaching and training. And from doing that, one of the people I share my training or my YouTube videos to, so got it. And then it was in an alumni, my university alumni. In fact, I just finished the meeting, and now I just immediately, it was up to 5 minutes to 1. I quickly logged out to come and start my own meeting because I was the president of that alumni. I finished from University of Olabiso Onabanjo, former Ogun State University. So the woman used to see my posts on my YouTube. Now she got an invitation to attend the International Women's Day celebration. There were 20 outstanding women that were going to be decorated with special awards. She could not attend. She lives in Illinois. She now was looking for who to transfer the invitation to. And because they were talking about women, the only person that came to her mind because of my video and all those things she's been watching about me, she remembered me. She forwarded my name to the organizer. That was how I was cleared. See, I've been living in Maryland, USA for the past 8 years. So that event happened 6 years ago. I have never been to DC. Say, let's just go and do sightseeing. You can just say, let's just go. And I've never done that. The first time I would step into DC, into the Capitol building, it was on an invitation into the White House to attend as a guest, as a special guest, the award decoration. One of those awardees happened to be a Nigerian who is also a Nigerian professional who is distinguished. Do you get? So can you imagine? I went to that place. I was just imagining if I had gone with my books, how that one will have even looked like. But I didn't go with my book that day. But definitely, I was just sharing that story to let you see that you don't know the impact, the far-reaching impact your book can do for you. In the 50 states we have in the United States of America, if I count maybe how many states I've been to, maybe if I'm magnanimous, maybe I'll say 10 states, maybe maximum or maybe minimum. Do you know that my books have traveled almost 30-something states where I've not been to? That is another thing I want you to know. When you write a book, you cannot say, so beyond you positioning yourself as an authority, it is also helping you to reach where you can never reach. The part I work, I don't know if my cursor is moving. This book that is here that I'm showing you, this man is late. This man is late. He is the one that founded Fidelity Grammar School, Fidelity High School. This man. Do you know the funniest thing? Before he died, he wrote his biography by his hands. I don't know how to share this story without... Do you know what now happened? That man now handed over the book to his wife. And when the woman came to meet me in my office here in Maryland, she came with handwritten notes. That day, I don't know how to describe the experience. My sister, I don't know. I'm trying to look for the picture. I want to go to. Maybe I will share it with you. Do you know what that woman did? She came with the write-up of her father. The man died like 1990 something. And Fidelity Grammar School, when it was started, this man came to United States to read. And because it was a recipient of that award to come and read, to come and study, the payback system was that he will now come back and develop. Do you understand? You know that kind of a payback system. So he now founded Fidelity Grammar School in Oyo State. And now he wrote everything that led to that school and all the wisdom and everything. And do you know, he now asked the children to put up the publication. And the children was carrying the book about. They don't know who is going to help them to put it together. By the grace of God, God made that vision to come alive through my publishing arm. And then last year, the woman went home. She took the book home for the grandmother, for the mother to have the first hold of the book, so that the woman said she will not die until she sees. That is part of what the woman is waiting for. That in her lifetime, that book will be published. Can you imagine how some people you can see a legacy that somebody died, but is not dead. Why? Because of his book. So can you imagine how that legacy was preserved? So there's so many things that our book will do for us that we don't know. I don't want to go into many of these people that are in these books. I have a woman here, Restored. This woman, she shared her story. So the goal for me on this platform, on this webinar, it is nothing but to help you believe in yourself that whatever it is you have as a desire, as a prosperous future, that you have a mental picture about, that is looking vague, that is looking unattainable, that is saying, this thing, when is it going to happen? I want to encourage you that when you decide to write about that thing, you are immortalizing that vision, that picture, that business, that enterprise, that vision, that purpose, that you thinking of having come to life and you don't know how to start, one of the best things you can do about that is to write about it. If you have a vision, you have a business idea, you've been thinking it's not going to happen, the first thing to do is to come and write about it. When you write, first thing it's going to do for you is that it's going to help you to be able to prove to yourself that you believe in this dream. That you believe, you don't need to worry about how it's going to, you believe that it's going to happen. Because why? Your story, your expertise, your vision, it matters. And it can create multiple income for you. It may not bring you 1 million. It can open $1 million door. The story I shared about my White House visit was the fact that I met so many people that I was able to connect with. So you can see that life journey, you cannot say this is where you are going to get to. You only need to start, because you don't know the people that God has positioned across your path as you keep taking the steps. The title of my book is Connecting the Dots. Connecting the dots. I connected the dots of my life when I was able to discover my life's purpose and vision. And from me connecting the dots to purpose and vision, that journey was redefined for me. Because it straightened out my path. It began to give me wisdom on who and what to connect with. So look at what I said here. I said your book is your legacy. That book I shared with you on WhatsApp, that man has preserved his legacy before he died. He preserved it. You can tell your story, and so many people. There's a woman I mentioned earlier. She wrote a book titled Restore. This is the book. I published the book last year. Let me show you the book. So this Restore. Yeah, this is the book. Look at it. These people she's an attorney at law, Attorney Bola Mibabafemi. This is the book. And the meaning of this book was her story. She was sharing her life story of how a beautiful marriage ended in divorce. So the husband was working fine, everything was fine. The husband got transferred because in the banking sector, got transferred to Ibadan. They were living there in Lagos. And before you know it, you can know how banking sector can be. If you are not disciplined, that was how the man. So once in a while, the man will be coming every weekend. Lagos, Ibadan. Short, small. He became once in a month, once in 2 months. Before you know it, he will just train. We are having him training every weekend. Training. One day, the woman waka, she carry her leg, go there, unannounced. She was shocked. The man is already with somebody else. To cut the long story short, see, understanding self-love and the power of solitude. So what this book did for her was she eventually, the man came out openly and told her she's gone with somebody else, and there's nothing she can do. She either manages it or she can leave. So that was how the woman could not even go back to tell her family, because when she was going to marry that person, they were reluctant that she was too young then, and that why can't she wait? How can she? So she packed her load. She went to Ghana. That was how she hid. That was where she hid herself, because she was almost going insane because of that experience. She got her voice back. She loved on herself. God restored her. She got opportunity to travel to the US. She's now a settled a woman. She has a law firm here in the United States. She got certified. God restored back. That is the title of the book, Restored. She was restored back. She got married again. Her life is beautiful. And when she published it, do you know what happened? Some months after, the man that did that the bad now wrote her, apologizing. Oh my God, the book traveled. My dear sister, the book traveled. And I'm so happy that I was part of that story. So when you write your story, it is not for you. And I gave this book to somebody that was going through that kind of challenge. She said she was crying all throughout. She was in the plane, and she decided that she's going to take this book to read. She could relate. And this woman now have a foundation, restored foundation. She's helping every woman, single woman, those people that we have been told to keep quiet. It's a shame for you to be a single parent. She's now helping them to find their voice back the way she got her voice back. So you can see that when you decide to write about your story, beyond just sharing your knowledge, it is a way of you creating a mentorship, training, coaching, courses, and consulting. So she now have a community where she's helping to rebuild back the life of women. And that community, because she's a non-profit, she has brands. People come to donate to, you can see many doors that organization is opening. I'm also on that organization. I go to give them some encouragement, from social, personal development, helping people to become more assertive, and they are building their mindset to see that it is not over. See that connection, my dear sister. See what is happening. So I'm using this to encourage you that if you want to build your brand, you want your brand to be known, you must write. You must write. And then when you finish writing, do you know what we can do? That your book, we can convert it to become a course. We can turn it to be a training. We can turn it to become it can become a manual. We can be using to be posting on social media. Can use to speech. You can use to create quotes. Anything. But let's just have it started. It can open doors. Many doors. These are the myths. I'm not a writer. I didn't study English. I didn't study communication. I'm not a linguistic. Many of these things, as true as they sound, they are myths. If you say you don't know what to write about, do you have a story? Like what I've just explained. Do you have a story? A passion? Do you have an expertise? Do you have a perspective about life that God has used to train and mold you into who you are today, that you can share, that others can learn from? That is something you can write about. If you say you are not a writer, you don't have to compulsorily be a writer to be an author. You only need to have an expertise, a wisdom, a skill to share with your world. You don't have a time. That is why leveraging is. You only need to have the right people. Like leveraging, when we talk about leveraging, it is one of the best ways. Like look at, if you have some people going to business, they don't have money. There are other people, they have money, they don't know what to do. And you that have an idea, you can leverage other people's money to do what? To write. The same thing with writing. You can leverage on other people's expertise about writing to help you package your story. I normally love to talk about Maya Monroe's late Pastor Maya Monroe. That man, the first book he will ever write in his life, he did not write it. He was just going for ministration, how they invite pastors to preach. And they said, are you this man? Everything you preach. How many people attended the show? He said maybe like 90 something people. Say 90. And did you drop your book? Did you give? He said no. Did you give them any write-up? Only no. Only did. He said, don't you know that man was telling him that? Don't you know that if you have gone with your books, there are some people there that when they get home, they go back home and they said, where did you go? And he just said, I went for a training. And here's the book we borrowed. Do you know that is another way of you extending your reach? That other people that didn't get to come to that meeting will get to know you. The man said, can I have the training recordings? And the man collected the recordings. And in less than 2 months, the man came back with a manuscript. That was how my Monroe started writing book. That was how. So every of his ministration, every of those things, he will just package it and give it to people that have been trained to know how to convert it to a book. So if you have a story, a gift, a talent that nobody knows about, it's about time you start to write about it. The only thing that is standing between you and your book is a decision to take action. So I want you to remember that you just need to take action. And how did you act? These are the 3 P's you can use to start write about your book. 1, what is the purpose? Purpose. What is the purpose of the book? Are you writing to position your brand? Are you writing to teach about an expertise you have? What is the purpose? The second one is plug. And the third is publish. Let's go into it. So what is purpose? This is purpose. Your core message. What do you want to write about? What are you passionate about? What is that expertise? Since that if they leave you alone, you can talk about it for hours. Something you have a bold or unique perspective about that the world needs to hear. Let's say it's solving a problem. Then there's a problem you have noticed among us as African diaspora, like somebody like me now, positioning myself. I have worked with some professionals and I've seen that there's a depth of passing forward of what many of them knows. That is why I am deep on this on this campaign of everybody must have a book. See, there's a man we are finishing his book. He's a consultant cardiologist at Johns Hopkins University. He's the first in his class, and he's a Nigerian. So in African diaspora, I noticed that many of us don't know what it means to write about our stories. Many of us have good placement up there. This is a campaign to help us immortalize our expertise, our wisdom. There's so many of us growing up. We are fortunate to be raised up by parents that those expertise, those perspectives that our parents gave us were some of the things that shaped us into who we were. Many of those things are being lost because nobody took time to preserve it. About his story, about his legacy, about what he stood for. That is the challenge. That is the challenge. Some of us need to do this for our parents. Some of us, maybe not for just to prove, preserve their legacy. My mom, we start decade by decade, and she will be telling you her first decade or not, second decade, third decade, fourth decade, and she will be sharing those things. And the secret of great men are in their stories. So, have a bold and unique perspective about the world. There are some people that there's so lot to learn from them. That is why you have to write. That is why. And now, this is how it is. So you can just talk it out. This is a step that you can use. Like, okay, begin with the end in mind. Who do you want to help? Okay, I want to write a book for entrepreneurs. I want to teach them that if you want to write, if you have any idea you've been thinking of starting your business with, first year, come and write about the idea. Come and teach it. Let somebody can hold a book and say, because you have written about it, it shows that you have knowledge about this thing. Do you understand? Let's start with that thing. So what are the lessons you want to share about those things? 7 lessons. Okay. So those 7 lessons, okay, let's talk about them one by one. We pick them one by one. No overthinking. You just share about what you have in mind, what you want to talk about, or secret or strategies. And then this can become the 7 chapters. And then what are the problems that this thing will solve? So we are looking at problem. This is the problem they're having. They're having problem getting into college. Maybe you are writing a book for teen or young adults who are getting ready to go to college. The problem is they don't know how to get the SAT, pass it, how to source for the right university that will be cheap, how to even get when you're in the system, how to get accepted, how to get yourself acclimatized to settle and not feel odd, Many of those problems. Now, you are now looking at those problems. You are listing them. There are 7 solutions. See? Action, what to do. That is it. Yeah, a book is done. It is as simple as that. You just need to identify who are the people. Who is the people? Okay, college. What is the problem? They have problem getting college. This is the problem. These are the things they're struggling. So what are the 7 things you want to teach them about? How to solve that problem. Use them. And then let's talk about. So that is the 3 P. Who are the people? What is the purpose? And then plug it into publishing. And you don't need to get all the traditional method of publishing that you see. Only sometimes there was a time that it was like if it's only the Oyinbos that are writing. Why? It was like a monopolized system that when you even finally find your book written as a black, you don't find publisher that want to publish your book. And it became a thing like they just reject it. I don't know whether you are familiar with it. They said, I'm looking for who to publish my book for me. Until Amazon came on board and we have KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing. And that was what broke the gene on self-publishing. And from that time forward, anybody can publish any time of it. As I'm talking to you now, if you are ready to publish your book and it's done today, even in the night, even in 12:00 a.m., you can publish. Even in 2 a.m. in the morning, you can publish. That was what Amazon did through KDP. So we have hybrid, but what we profile in our platform is self-publishing through KDP. So what we do is we help you to get it professionally formatted, to get the ISBN, and we teach you on how you can monetize your ROI, your investment on this through your launch. Teach you all those marketing stuff. And your book can also be a business card. Let me tell you. You treat it like one, can be a business card. And people write also for therapy. There's a man who I wrote a book, I helped him write a book. He lost the wife to cancer from 2 years ago. And after the loss of the wife, the man went into a state of mourning and what have you. And then he decided to write about the journey. See, this is the title of it. Hope Beyond Tragedy. He's a Ghanaian. His name is Felix Antwi. So that's the man. That's the title of the book. Felix Antwi. So this was a compilation. So what he's doing is a journey of love, death, and healing. It was a story of how he was able to process that loss. And he's using this book to teach and train anybody that's going through any particular loss, any form of loss of loved one, how he was able to navigate through that situation. This is what the book is all about. You can see. So that is this book. We launched the book last year, August. Thereabout. So these are the steps. Write your manuscript, get it professionally edited, book cover, formatting. These are what we do, and your book is okay. So these are the steps. How do you get going? If you have discovered that actually you need to start this conversation, the earlier the better, that your book needs to be written. First thing is documentation, and you can document your book through many methods. You can decide to talk it out. Thank God to devices like our phones and what have you, and gadgets. You can, once you know what you want to write about, you can sit down on a Zoom like this, or you pick your phone on WhatsApp and you start talking it out. Early in the morning, maybe you are in your most serene moment where you reflect, where you are most fresh, and those ideas was just coming. You can just start recording. You can type it, and then whatever format you use to document, doesn't matter. Then we can transcribe, and from transcribing, we do the book writing proper, and we edit. Check with you if you are okay. You go through the second write-up and self-editing. You proofread, cover design format, and what have you. So what I'm saying in essence is that in our organization at Luleta Consulting, an offshoot of Luleta Publishing, we help aspiring authors, professionals, coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs package their expertise, their stories, and unique experience into books. We have a done for you and done with you services. The done for you is if you are that busy, like this man that I mentioned, consultant cardiologist. He's so busy that we're only able to do documentation through Zoom. So during Zoom, you come on Zoom and I document his story. We start asking questions from asking those questions, then we go into his stories, then we take his life year, decade by decade. Let's talk about the highlights of your first decade on earth. What were the highlights? What were the things you were able to do? What are the things your achievement, your high moments, your low moments? What are the circumstances that surrounded your birth? Are there things that need to be taken care of from death? Lessons to be learned from that? You know, we talk everything you would love to share. And once we are done with that documentation phase, then we transcribe what he has shared with us, and then we put up the first draft, and then get him to approve it. And from when he's done approving the thing, then we go over to edit and then rewrite again, put all the additions, whatever, proofreading to remove any form of error, grammatical, whatever. Then we design the cover design to make the book look attractive and attract the audience, and then we publish and launch and promotion. So this is it. How can you get your book done? If in 1 week you can have a slot to talk in 1 hour. So when you look at that, so in 10 weeks, you can have 10 chapters for a book. 10 chapters. That's the finished draft. Then 2 weeks, you can publish and launch your book. That is the meaning of the 90 days. You know, 90 days is 4 weeks. The 4 weeks make 1 month. So 4 times 3, that is 90 days. So your 10, 10, 10, if you talk about your book, each chapter per week for 10 weeks, we have 10 chapters. And then in 2 weeks, you can have your book launch. So look at it. That is what I'm saying. 10 hours, 10 chapters, 10 weeks. In the remaining 2 weeks, you publish, print, and launch. I don't know, maybe you have your pastors of the pastors. There are some pastors that have been on the campaign reaching out to them. I have 3 pastors so far that I've written book for. I have pastor of Mercy Court, Pastor John Atekoja. I don't know whether you know his name. It's Mercy Court, Pastor John. His book, the title of his book is Born to Dream. So I wrote, it's part of the book that will be published in Lodeta. I have Pastor Melody Okweriusi. This is Pastor Melody too. These are pastors from churches, and I have one Pastor Adeola. She just launched her book December. She is a Redeemed Christian Church of God that is in Owen Smith, Amazing Grace Chapter. We launched our book also in January. Okay? I think I put it in the. I said we launched our book in January. In December, December. So these are some of. So the writing of book is not. There's nobody that's excluded. There's nobody. And she was telling the story. Okay, see, this is it. This touch point of significance. This middle book. This is the book by Pastor Adeola. This book, The Man of God, this one that my cousin studied, that is the book by Pastor Melody. This other second pastor that I talked about. Yeah. And this is the last book on this slide, Born to Dream. That is Pastor John Itape's book. That is his book. Those are the people that we've helped. And numerous. It's not within. This book is being launched next month on the 5th of April. Empowering Entrepreneur. This is our latest. And this book, Sacred Crossroads, these are two people that we just finished their book and are going to be launching in April. These two books. We launched this in January. This True Worshipper. Yes. So this one was launched in December, you know. So that was it, just like that. Now, I want you to just imagine yourself. What do you think is stopping you from turning all the knowledge you've gotten into a book? What do you think has been stopping you?
Honestly, nothing. It's just taking the action.
And then when you focus on something, it becomes more. When you think of something, whatever you're thinking the most, you become to form. There's a way our brain is wired that the more of those things, the more you see it, it becomes something you are thinking about, seeing. I don't know whether some people have said it. They said our reticular activating system is in our brain. That when we see something, so it just become like every other thing loses focus. So you become what you are beholding. When you keep beholding it, your book is waiting, your world is waiting, and it is all about you taking action. Like you rightly said, there is no excuse we can give that is valid, because when you look at, you can't give and make excuse, you can't make money and make excuse at the same time.